I want to start this video by saying something that might make you a little bit uncomfortable, but if you are here, you're probably ready to hear it. So most people don't fail because they don't want it bad enough. They fail because they keep setting goals in a way that doesn't match how their life actually works. They plan for this fictional future version of themselves, the ones who wake up early every single day, never overthinking, never doubting themselves, never getting distracted, and always knows what move to make next in their business. And then real life shows up and their mindset says otherwise. So if you're an entrepreneur or a creator, you already know this feeling. You start the year with so much clarity and motivation, and then somewhere along the line it fades or we forget about it. And listen, I've been guilty of this as well in the past. It's not because we stopped caring, but because the plan that we created in that moment wasn't designed for real life pressures, emotions, responsibilities, and whatever else we have going on that life throws at us. So in this video, we're not going to be talking about dreaming bigger or wanting it more. It's about doing things differently and then writing down realistic bite-sized goals that lead to your big goals, along with working on your mindset so it believes that these goals are achievable for you. So if you want 2026 to actually feel and look different and to be your most successful year yet, then we need to talk about how you approach success from the ground up. But before we dive in, hi, my name is Katrina Labar. I'm a social media and business mentor. I help entrepreneurs, creators, and business owners build digital offers, grow, and make money on social media. And that's what we talk about on this platform. So if you haven't subscribed already, what are you waiting for? Go and hit the subscribe button. Don't worry, I will wait. Okay, now let's dive into it. Stop planning for a person you are not yet. So one of the biggest reasons people don't hit their goals is because they plan for who they hope they'll become instead of who they currently are. So let's say things like, next year I'm going to be way more disciplined, or I'll finally be more consistent, or once I'm more confident, I'll show up differently. And listen, growth is real. People do actually change and hit their goals, but change doesn't happen because you planned better or you were more motivated. It happens because you built systems that force the evolution to happen. So if you struggle with consistency now, your 2026 plan cannot rely on you suddenly loving discipline. If you tend to overthink or second guess yourself, your strategy can't require constant decision making. If you burn out easily, your plan shouldn't demand more daily output because guess what? You're still gonna burn out. So what actually works is designing your goals around your patterns instead of pretending those patterns don't exist. So the most successful people I know didn't become disciplined first. They built structure first, and then they removed as many decisions as possible. They created rules, not goals. So instead of asking yourself, who do I want to be in 2026? I want you asking, how do I set my life and business up so I succeed even on my worst weeks? That shift alone is going to change everything. Now, a way to implement this is something I learned from one of my favorite books called The Atomic Habits. The habit is called habit stacking. This concept is all about making it easier to establish new habits by linking them to existing ones you already perform consistently. So by using your current habits as triggers for new behaviors, you create a seamless and automatic transition that's going to help you stick to your goals more effectively. So let me give you an example of what I mean. So you can start with a habit you already do regularly, like brushing your teeth, making coffee, or even taking a shower. Then choose a new habit you want to establish, such as reading a book, doing a quick workout, or practicing gratitude. And the key is to stack the new habit onto an existing one. For instance, if you want to start reading more, you could stack the new habit onto your coffee routine. After I make my coffee, I will read for 15 minutes. After brushing your teeth, I will meditate for 5 minutes to clear my mind and set my intentions for the day. After you finish dinner, I will take a 10-minute walk to get some fresh air. Do you notice how each new habit is stacked onto an existing routine you already have? This technique is going to help you leverage your current habits to create a smooth automatic transition into your new behavior. Now, this is how you can get started with habit stacking. So choose one existing habit, start with something simple that you already do daily, like making your morning coffee or checking your phone, and then identify one new habit. Pick a new habit you want to establish, such as journaling, meditating, going for a walk, and then stack that new habit onto the existing one. So create a clear connection between the two habits. For instance, after I make my coffee, I will write in my journal for 10 minutes. And then I want you to stay consistent. Perform your habit stack every single day. Consistency is key to making the new habit automatic. And then you're going to track your progress. So keep a habit tracker to monitor your consistency and to keep you motivated. So I want you to experiment with different habit stacks until until you find a routine that works best for you, that it will help you lead to hitting your goals. And remember, the more you practice habit stacking, the easier it will become to establish new habits and then transform your life. Now, the next one I want you to focus on is to choose one clear identity and stop splitting your energy. So before we even talk about focus and niches or whatever you're known for in the online space, there's something you need to understand. And this might be the most important thing that I say in this entire video. You'll never go farther than the version of yourself you believe you are. So your identity is your ceiling. It quietly determines how much success you allow yourself to have, how visible you're willing to be, how much money feels normal to you, and how seriously you take your own goals. So it's going to shape what you think is possible, and just as importantly, what you subconsciously believe is off limits for you. Most people don't realize this is what's actually holding them back. So if you see yourself as someone who isn't consistent, you will always find reasons to fall off. And if you see yourself as someone who's bad with money, you will unconsciously make decisions that keep you in that loop. If deep down you identify as someone who's still figuring it out, you're going to hesitate to lead, even when you're more than qualified. So your actions will always work to protect your identity, even when that identity is outdated. So that's why so many people feel stuck. They're trying to build a next level business with an old self-image. They want new results, but they're still operating from the same internal story about who they are and what they're capable of. And this ties directly into why people struggle with focus. So when you don't have a clear identity, when you haven't decided who you are becoming, you are splitting your energy. You're trying to be everything because you don't fully claim anything. So you're posting a little of this, try a little bit of that, watch what everyone else is doing, and constantly second guessing yourself. Listen, I just came out of this hole myself, so I know where I wasn't feeling aligned fully with my business and how I was showing up, and I wanted to pivot my business, and I was literally just testing the waters with other things, and then my business started to come to a halt because as confused as I was feeling, I'm sure that energy was showing up online in my content, and my audience was confused as well. And this is the truth. Momentum comes from focus. So when your identity online or in your business is unclear, your audience feels it too. When you're unsure what you're building towards, your actions become scattered. You start second guessing everything because there's no anchor. When you decide, this is who I am, this is what I want to be known for, and this is the lane that I'm committing to, your behavior starts to line up naturally. You stop debating every move, you stop chasing every new idea, you stop asking for permission. So in 2026, you need to decide what you want to be known for, even if it scares you. Actually, especially if it scares you. Clarity feels restrictive at first, for sure. We get scared that if we narrow down who we are speaking to, no one will bite. It feels like you're closing doors, but the truth is, if you are speaking to everyone, you are speaking to no one. So when you stop trying to be everything, you finally become something solid, and that's how you build authority in your niche. And this doesn't mean you can't evolve later. It just means that for this season, you need to commit to something. One main message, one main direction, one lane you're willing to stay in long enough to see results. And that level of commitment is what separates people who are kind of growing to people who actually build something undeniable. The next one is reprogramming your subconscious mind. And this is the best way to redesign your life. And it's what you need to do next after you identify who you want to show up as. Did you know that the majority of your thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors are driven by our subconscious mind? And that's why it's crucial to reprogram your subconscious mind to create success. And the most important thing to do is to identify any limiting beliefs or negative programming that may be holding you back from reaching your goals. I know we like to think we don't have much holding us back and that we aren't the issue, but most of us have limiting beliefs that have been suppressed from experiences from our childhood that we are still holding on to today. So one powerful way to reprogram your subconscious mind is through visualization and affirmation. So take some time each day to visualize yourself achieving your goals with vivid details, seeing who you are, where you are, what you're wearing, who you are with, the weather, the smells. What I usually do is get out my journal every morning and I write down all my goals that I want to achieve in the next 5 to 10 years and the stepping stones that I need to hit to get there. And I map out a game plan, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So how will you achieve these goals if you have no idea how you're even going to get there? So you need to have a clear vision of your future and write it down. Let those goals be achievable. And what I mean by this is is that you don't want to be writing down a goal for $1 million month when you are barely hitting 10K. So this may bring up some self-doubt. What you could do is write down a goal for 20K months. This way it's not as intimidating and it's more achievable based on where you currently are at in your life. So make sure that your goals that you are writing down are stepping stones along with some of the big ones. So when you sit down to write out your goals, and if you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and lost on how to write out your goals for the next 5 to 10 years, I would suggest to start small. So I would start with what you want to achieve this year. What are some of the goals that would be amazing to hit in your life this year and in your business? So my favorite is to write them on Post-it notes and to put them on my washer mirror so that I could read them multiple times per day. And if the big goals feel hard, then start with the small ones and work your way up. Then at night, I go to bed and I visualize my goals in my head, exactly where I will be and what I am doing. So you go in your mind and mentally just go through all of how the conversation could go, what could be said. I would usually envision achieving a big goal, like speaking at an event, about my book launch, or in my dream home and the location I want to move to. I get into the feeling of who I want to become and how I feel being there in that moment. And then I try to do this every night as I fall asleep until those thoughts start to feel like my reality. And then I pair it with these positive affirmations that are going to reinforce your worthiness, your capabilities, and your potential. So for example, you could repeat affirmations such as, I am deserving of hitting 6-figure months, or I am writing a New York Times bestseller. By consistently reprogramming your subconscious mind with positive thoughts and beliefs, you'll align your inner world with your outer reality and start to manifest your dreams. Now, if you are wondering how this all works, your subconscious mind apparently doesn't know the difference between your thoughts, your feelings, and your reality. So by consistently envisioning the life that you want, you're training your brain and your subconscious, and you're shifting your identity and attracting what you want. This is why if you think negative thoughts, you attract negative things. If you think positive thoughts, you attract positive things. So make sure that you are envisioning exactly what you want. And the next part I want to dive into is something that aligns perfectly with the whole reprogramming concept, and that's mastering your self-talk. Just like you can visualize your future and attract it, the words you speak to yourself have power too. So self-talk can either propel you forward or hold you back. And that is the truth. Most people underestimate just how much their own thoughts shape their results. That's why this step is so crucial. You need to start paying attention to the thoughts that run through your mind. Are they empowering you and motivating you, or are they self-limiting? Every time a thought starts creeping in, doubt, fear, or I can't territory, pause and ask yourself, why is this thought even surfacing? What is trying to protect me? And then shift it and reframe it. So here's what I want you to understand. Most of the time, you don't even realize when you're sabotaging yourself. Our brains are clever like that. They try to disguise self-sabotage as caution or overthinking, and that's why having the awareness is everything. For example, if you catch yourself thinking, I'm not good enough, you need to consciously reframe it into something like, I am worthy and I am capable of achieving any goal that I desire. It sounds simple, but it actually works. And the more you practice speaking to yourself with kindness, compassion, and encouragement, the quicker you'll catch those sneaky self-limiting patterns before they even derail your day. I've been practicing this for a while now, and there are still moments where my mind starts spiraling and trying to make a situation bigger than it actually needs to be. Maybe a potential client decides not to work with me and my brain immediately goes to, I must be the problem. But I've learned to pause and recognize that thought as a form of self-sabotage and correct it instead of letting it take over. So this is why daily practice is non-negotiable. Positive self-talk is a habit, not a one-time fix, and these limiting thoughts will never fully disappear. But the better you get at noticing them, the better you get at taking action, even with them present. That's how progress happens, and that's how success actually sticks. Now, the last thing I want you to do is answer these prompts to end the year off. So grab a journal, your notes app, or whatever you prefer to use, and write these questions down. Because thinking about change isn't the same thing as processing it. Writing forces honesty. So we have thousands of thoughts a day, most of them on repeat, most of them never actually turn into action. And that's why so many people feel like they're thinking about their goals, but nothing actually shifts. So let's slow this down and write it into existence. And if you're someone who's like, I don't know how to journal, I don't know how, I never stick to it, good. That's exactly why structure matters, and that's why guided prompts work. So write these down and answer them when you are finished watching this video. So the first question is, what's draining you now that used to excite you? What was your proudest moment in 2025? What habits are currently holding you back? What version of me am I dressing for right now? And does she still fit into the life I want to achieve? And instead of asking, how can I do more before the year ends? Ask yourself, what would actually move the needle if I did it calmly and with intention? There is nothing magnetic about burnout, but there is something powerful about clarity. So fill these out so you know what is currently preventing you from moving forward, and then create the habits to help you achieve your goals. 2026 doesn't need a new version of you. It doesn't need you to completely reinvent yourself or wait for some perfect moment to be ready. What it needs is a committed version of you, the one who shows up, makes decisions, and stops overcomplicating everything. The one who executes with clarity, even when things feel messy and imperfect. So if you are ready for 2026 to be your most powerful year yet, it starts with choosing action over hesitation. It starts with what's in front of you, taking one step, one decision, one habit at a time. So commit to following through even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels like you're not ready. And that is exactly how you'll start seeing results. I am grateful for you sticking around until the end of this video, and I really hope that you got the most out of this. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this video with anyone who's ready for their own transformational journey in 2026. You've got this, and I'll see you in the next video.